Welcome back to Terror by the Bay. I'm David. Okay, so Biden and Iran are in the news. There was an exchange of $6 billion of Iranian money that was being held in South Korean accounts. That money is being transferred from South Korea using Switzerland because the U.S. isn't talking to Iran and vice versa. So from Switzerland is helping assist the money going from South Korea to Qatar. And Qatar will hold on to that $6 billion. It will have U.S. oversight. It's supposed to be used for humanitarian aid, food, medicines, that sort of thing. The Americans also released like 5 Iranians that were being held as prisoners. And they were released. I think 2 or 3 of them went back to Iran, and then a couple are not intending on going back. 3 have not intended to go back. I've got the story up here on my left here. For the U.S. part, again, 5 people were released, and they're on their way back, I'm assuming, to the United States at this point. Now, as you might imagine, the Republicans are out there saying it's a horrible deal, and you're giving $1.2 billion for Americans to the Iranians, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Biden's point was it was their money, and we had frozen it, and we're giving it back. What's really going on? It may be an attempt to warm some relations between the U.S. and Iran, is my guess. The U.S. would like Iran to get back onto a program that checks their nuclear weapons. You know, we had one, and then Trump got us out of it, and now there's no oversight. And I think the U.S. is trying to gain an upper hand or a leverage on that. And if you have to throw a few $1 billion of their own money back at them, maybe that's what you have to do. But of course, the Republicans are saying Biden's weak and he got screwed on this deal. Biden's going to play up that, what's an American's life worth? And, for the families of these 5 people, man, they don't care how much money was spent. They're just happy to have their loved ones home. Okay, so what's the energy around this prisoner exchange? Okay. Everything is upside down. Page of Wands, they're trying to open up a new chapter. Interesting, you've got the pyramids in the back over here. Now, pyramids are in Egypt, but, it kind of puts you in the Middle East. Going forward and trying diplomacy again after a certain amount of time's gone by. Mind you, Iran has every right not to be real thrilled with the United States. I mean, we only assassinated one of their nuclear experts or generals when Trump was in office. And why would they trust us? Now, we in the United States would say because that was Trump and this is Biden. But for the rest of the world, it's just the United States. So the United States is going out, trying to try some diplomacy. And it's going to be a long, slow grind. Whatever progress we had made, we've lost, and now we've got to reestablish that progress. Ultimately, the goal with any foreign policy is for the United States to secure their interests throughout the world. And I think in this case, this was kind of one of those situations that was a win-win, because both sides could talk about how they got their citizens back. Iran can also say how it got $6 billion back. And the U.S. can say, well, those $6 billion is going for humanitarian aid. It's helping families and children and stuff like that. So from a public relations standpoint, this is working out well, with very few exceptions. In the past, Page of Pentacles, Iran's we took their money and we locked it up, and they've arrested U.S. citizens and locked them up, and so now we have to have an exchange of prisoners and money to sort of set things straight again. It could be like sanctions that were down there. Current situation, this Page of Pentacles was developing into a King of Pentacles. The Republicans, again, are concerned that the minute you pay to have some hostages, you could have a situation where they grab lots and lots of hostages and want to get paid for it. I think the Biden administration's looking at it like this is kind of this was an immature thing to do, and now we've matured and we're trying to act as a better player on the world stage. Either one of these things could come to pass. Overarching energy, again, Page of Wands, Three of Wands. This is U.S. foreign policy. It's about how do you strengthen U.S. interests so that the U.S. interests are great. And maybe you give some money back now with the hope that there's going to be some returns on your investment, that there's other things you can discuss. Again, proliferation of nuclear weapons and limiting that proliferation would be a really, really good thing. And for the United States, Iran not having nuclear weapons is a very good thing, because there's lots of people in Iran who, if they could have a dirty bomb, they would love nothing more than to detonate it in the United States. Justice is the lesson to be learned from this. The current regime, okay, now I got nailed before for saying that. The current government in Iran, the one that suppresses women and beats people up and murders people for, not following religious doctrine. Can I call that a regime without insulting some people? The current regime in Iran isn't going to always be there. At some point, they're losing power as it is. And when they were basically attacking women's rights, and there were a lot of protests, which it's gone out of the U.S. news cycle. I'm going to have to go look those up to see how things are going with that. This could be setting up better relations with the U.S. and whatever government comes in to replace the current government. The Shahs and the religious councils won't be there forever. So maybe it's better to start this process now and working on your public relations such that when that government's out of power and the new government comes back in, maybe, just maybe, we can all get along just a little bit better. Outcome, King of Wands, more wands. So you go from a page to a king. Expect, maybe not immediately, but expect that there's going to be more deals made that improve the public relations between the United States and Iran. That's kind of my view, because the page is maturing to the king. Okay, now I'll throw some quick questions on there. Obviously, one of the questions that's going to be of concern for most people, and the Republicans have brought it up, is that will this encourage more state-sponsored kidnappings, for lack of a better description? Kind of like what Russia does. Brittany Griner and amongst others, find somebody on a minor charge and then hold them for a decade. Or just trump up charges if it's a journalist. Accuse them of being a spy. Because that one guy's still not back yet. I would have thought I did readings on him. I would have thought he would have been back by now. I'd have to go back and look to see what I said on that. I'm forgetting his name. It's been too long. That's why I read up on the stories before I do reading. So I know what I'm talking about. This one, now I'm going off memory. It's been too long. Okay. So are the Republicans right? Will we see more kidnappings or something like that of United States citizens? Possibly. I don't think there'll be state kidnappings. It'll be smaller potatoes by folks that don't know what they're doing. Again, so the U.S. is looking at improving its relations. Yeah, there'll be some attempts on it. This it may not be state-sponsored, or if it is state-sponsored, they're contracting it out to people. Is that right? Let's see. It could be young people. if okay, if they do try to take advantage of this, they're going to get called down on it really quickly because the U.S. I think maybe some less seasoned people in the government may suggest it, but it's quickly quashed because they see the United States as reaching out to improve relations. Iran doesn't want sanctions. It wants these sanctions lifted. And if you start taking more people hostage, sanctions are going to be imposed, not lifted. So if you try and take more hostages, it's just it's more trouble than it's worth. And then apparently, Biden did also announce that there were new sanctions against the president of Iran and their intelligence agencies as a way to try and counter the Republican messaging that, he's caving into to Iran and he's weak and this, that, and the other thing, and we're just giving away money. He announced new sanctions to kind of counter that. So, do the Republic, are they right? Maybe, but it would just be, how to put it. It would be like, the MAGA faction wanting to kidnap other people and do it. No, a tit for tat. These are people that are not like politically very savvy. They're not very smart. They don't look beyond. They don't look down the road at the consequences. They don't play the tape all the way through. And I think that's. I think more savvy politicians in Iran would advise against such actions. That doesn't mean, again, some extremist groups won't take advantage of it, but for the most part, I think the government's not going to support it, and they'll probably try and quash it rather quickly. What else do I want to throw on? Asked earlier what was going on. So the Republicans are right. Oh, will Biden suffer any... Well, of course he's going to suffer political fallout for this. Will anybody come 2024 election, will anybody even remember this? To me, this is something best done now because it's going to be, a year before people are getting ready to vote, and this won't be a big deal. If he had done this just before the election, the Republicans would make a big deal of it, but will be a big deal a year from now. So how will this impact Biden's reelection? Yeah, I think Biden's I think he's just trying to keep low profile. We're just going to get this done now, and he'll take his punishment now to save it from happening later. It can also be that as he pointed out, this was not our money to begin with. This was Iranian money, and he's giving it back. But I imagine we made a lot of interest on that money, and people made interest on that money, and we still have some control over it too. But it's that offers of money. Maybe this is just people being kidnapped and offers of money. And we're not even going to get an answer to my question. There we go again. He's still planning. He's looking in the future. This is just foreign policy. Biden's good at foreign policy, and he's just looking forward to it. Yeah, okay, so this isn't going to answer my election stuff, I don't think. This is just going to say these people were taken improperly, and we're just going to give them their money back to get these people back. It was the right... He's going to tell you that... He's going to basically lean into that this was the right and just thing to do. And it increases his popularity on the world stage by doing this because it's making the world a little bit safer place to live in and a little bit kinder place to live in. All right, so how does that impact the U.S.? Okay, so now we're having a tower moment here. What's coming crashing down quickly? I would imagine his poll numbers are going to crash quickly because of this. Just like the forced withdrawal from Afghanistan, the numbers will come crashing down on this one. But I think he's playing beyond that. He's looking at a bigger picture. Yeah. I think he loses some support from people. There might be conservatives that might have been leaning to not voting for Trump, but because they have biases, racial, ethnic, religious biases against the Iranians, that they're gonna be disappointed in Biden, and they won't give him the support. They just won't. Some people forget, some people won't forget, and we're not going to know the answer. This is just something that's going to play out over time. Again and again, this is it's interesting because Biden's playing a longer game. If you knew for a fact you were being reelected, then yeah, this works out really well, because who cares what your poll numbers are now if you're not facing a serious opponent. But unfortunately, Donald Trump appears to be a serious enough opponent, and the Republicans again are going to howl about this. And also, that being said, Biden beat Trump in 2020 by 311 electoral votes to 230 or 240, whatever. It's 270 plus or minus. So, he hammered him pretty well in 2020, and a lot of Republicans died due to COVID, and Trump hasn't exactly brought new people into the tent, as it were. Again, this action may cause Biden to lose some people from the tent, but again, those would have been people that might have voted Republican anyways. They would have been conservative values, or or something like that, and maybe they wouldn't have voted for Trump, and now they will. We don't know. I don't know. Do I think it was the right thing to do? Yeah, I think it was the right thing to do. Anytime you can get folks that were unjustly held in prison out of prison, that's the right thing to do. I just hope, in the end of the day, a compassionate message doesn't resonate with some people, and they tend to wear red baseball caps. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching this video and supporting my channel. I do appreciate it. Thank you for your likes and your shares and your comments, and doing what you do to feed the YouTube algorithm beast, so that my video gets more exposure and reaches out to new viewers. And to those new viewers, welcome to the channel. I hope you found this reading insightful, and I hope you subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you on the next video. Take care.